is Hassan El Jai. I'm a stage actor and director. I live in Casablanca. I'm also a public speaking coach. And obviously, I travel a lot in Morocco to perform several shows. We've been doing some tours lately with two of my shows, Sophie Mon Amour, Majnoun, Le Fou de Leila, in several cities in Morocco, like Casablanca, Rabat, Marrakesh, and so on. Well, theater was the first and foremost passion, I would say, in my tiny life. But from the beginning, I knew it was something I wanted to do and to explore, to nurture, and eventually make it my job. I loved it so much. I would perform all the time as soon as I had a chance at home, in classrooms, not always at the end of classes, but also in the middle of them. And my teachers weren't always happy with that. And also the shows at the end of the year, each year. It was primary school and even high school. We would always try to perform, act, even sing, dance, do whatever we could to just be on stage. Being on stage was a great joy for me. It was an enchantment of all instants. The secret behind the success, I think several things. First of all, at the beginning it was the novel. I think that brought audiences to the venues where I performed. But then I think there was a bit of curiosity concerning the approach. What's a dramatic reading? And so people were a little skeptical about it at first, to be honest. But then it was also, I think, the subject because it deals with spirituality in a very personal and intimate way. It's the story, as you must know, of Shams Tabrizi, who was the spiritual master of Jalaluddin al-Rumi in 13th century Konya. And this journey of his through a path in which he encounters several characters who are struggling with their faith, and he helps them reconcile with something very intimate within themselves. And so I think people come seeking answers, beautiful answers of love, friendship, intelligent, subtle cohabitation with people, and with everything that surrounds a being in a society. Everyone needs answers for their personal, intimate quest. And I think that's what it does for people. Not only in Morocco, by the way, because I've toured the show also in the US, Belgium, France, Switzerland, and the responses are approximately the same everywhere. Not only by Muslims, by the way. I've had some of the beautiful things I've heard about the play at the end was from Christians, atheists, Buddhists. In America, people were amazed by not just the craft of how I would do it or switch from a character to another in the blink of an eye, but most specifically the beautiful message of Islam. Many people discovered Islam, or I would say the heart of Islam, through the message in that play. So it's interesting. This approach is personal because, of course, that doesn't mean that I don't practice theater in a more classical way. I still do it. Of course, I had a play that we toured for 3 or 4 years, which was called Ma Ville m'a tué, among others with Amal Ayouch on stage. And the reason why I chose the dramatic reading format is that it allows you first to present many interesting works in just a couple of months to the audiences. What's interesting is that today I can have a dramatic reading of The Little Prince, Le Petit Prince, and then next week I can present Othello, and then 2 weeks after that I can go on with the 40 Rules of Love, or more recently I've done the Sufi tales and poems. So It allows you to have this diversity, and also the improvisation part is wonderful because when I have the text in hand, I can improvise, switch from a character to another, and also show my technical abilities as an actor on stage. And something else which was very important to me, it's very dear to me. When I have a text, a book in hand, in front of an audience, it reminds people, whether they like it or not, whether they're conscious about that or not, that reading a book can be joyful, it can be playful, it can be fun, it can be inspiring. Reading is to me, is an essential activity in one's life. People should read, and especially when I perform The Little Prince in front of children, I'm amazed at the joy they feel looking at me switching from that character to another, so different, both of them, but still. And they're looking at this book, and after the performance they come to me and they grab the book and they ask, well, how did you do that? Because you needed to turn the page. How could you switch from this voice to that voice and that physicality to another? And the children see that, and maybe, hopefully, one day it might inspire them to do the same. Hopefully. As I said earlier, they were a bit skeptical in the beginning. They would see dramatic reading on the poster. They would go, oh no, this is going to be boring. The guy is going to be seated reading a book. We don't want to see that kind of stuff. But then people started coming, attending more and more, and they loved it. Because they saw that, first of all, I wasn't seated for 2 hours or an hour and a half. I get up, I change physicalities, voices, and it's there's a lot of emotions involved, and I improvise a lot with the public, because the good thing of having a book in your hand is that you can improvise, you can talk to people, you can also make them part of the story. You make them sometimes when a character in the story, they're not expecting it, they don't know always what to do, and it's very exhilarating for them. And so you have the book so you can come back very quickly to the story. I've been working for several years now on a very dear masterpiece. It's called The Conference of the Birds, or The Language of the Birds, depending on the translation, by Farid Al-Attar. I've been working on this adaptation for the stage. It's very difficult because you have a lot of birds. There is a lot of wisdom, Sufi, traditional wisdoms and messages. Hopefully I'm pretty close, inshallah, to finalizing it and making it real. There's also this play about Rabi'a al-Adawiyya and Hassan al-Basri that I hope I'll be able to present next fall. Someone once questioned her, Rabi'a al-Adawiyya, what would you say about the Prophet's friend, good Rabi'a? She said, I haven't done with God yet. How can I discuss the Prophet's friendships now? If I weren't wholly lost in God, I might be able to consider men aright. Am I not she who, while I prayed, a thorn had pierced my eye, and the eye's flesh was torn, so that blood dripped upon my prayer mat there, and I prayed on, regardless, unaware? One who has such divine concerns, how can she care about this woman or that man? Since I don't know myself, how could I claim to talk of other men with praise or blame? You're neither God nor prophet. You can't say you do or don't accept men on this way. You're dust along this road. So be that, dust. Stop all this yes and no. It isn't just. You're dust. So talk about the dust, but see all men you meet as made of purity.